Next, we are here to continue Narcissu, the visual novel. And last time we were in the chapter 3, but now we're going to head off to chapter 4, the Emerald Sea. I have no clue how many chapters there are, because I have no clue. That is the best explanation ever. But let us just continue. Yeah. Let's do this. Come on. Click it. Why is it always so hard? Thank you.
時間を止め、心を止めて、情報だけを積み重ねる日々。
Days spent gazing at a map, closing my eyes, traveling through unfamiliar roads. One day, the usual monthly magazines, a photograph on front cover drew my eyes. A female model in a showy swimsuit. Provocative poses on sanded beach. A smile captured right before the Emerald Sea that I had always dreamed about. She was probably my age, smiling at me happily, cheerfully with her outstanding figure. It wasn't as if I was jealous or anything. I didn't own any swimsuits to begin with, and I didn't come close to having any need for them. My pajamas were quite enough for me.
いくつもの季節を、広い梅雨空を、誰とも言葉を交わす必要もなく過ごした。
I remembered that day, June of the first year of middle school, the day of my first hospitalization. I remembered having ordered a swimsuit. I remembered having done so several years ago. That day, I remembered that swimsuit that had lost its God damn it, why cannot I speak? That had lost its opportunity to be used. I took that school swimsuit, new as the day I bought it, out of drawer where it had patiently waited for years. I took off my usual pajamas and timidly put on that navy blue swimsuit. I was shocked. It had already been years, and yet it fit me as if it had been made for me that very day. And that swimsuit model was smiling at me warmly, smiling at me from the mists of the Emerald Sea, smiling at me warmly and happily with that beautiful womanly figure. It was saddening. It wasn't as if I was jealous, no. The truth was, I was probably yearning for it. Yearning for it impossibly, stubbornly, because I knew that it was absolutely impossible.
だけど、胸の大きな傷跡が諦めろと諭した。生涯の伴侶は目を閉じた世界にしろと諭した。
January 22nd, 2005. Around the time when the sun slowly arced down and dyed the western horizon orange, we were on the road as usual. What should we do now? We really had no money left to spare.
ねえあなた。
As I thought upon these things, she caught me by surprise by calling out to me.
あなた、お風呂は入れるの？
Yeah, they said that I could go ahead unless it was long protracted bath? What does that mean?
そう。私も似たようなもんよ。
What she meant by allowed and what I meant by they was that doctors didn't caution us against it. There had been many who had been forbidden to do so due to kidney or digestive tract issues. And now that I thought about it, her problem was probably in her circularity system just like me. Well, do you want to take a bath?
悪い。
No, I kind of wanted to as well. Even so, we didn't have enough money to stay in a hotel or an inn. Then do you want to stop by a public bathhouse?
銭湯？
Yeah, we've got money for that at least.
やっぱり
What do you mean, fine? It had already been 3 days since we'd escaped from 7th. We were allowed to bathe twice a week there and had sponge baths twice a day as well. Then again, we weren't getting very sweaty given the season, and since we were in a car, we weren't getting dirty. Could it be that it's embarrassing for you to be in a public bathhouse?
別にそんな意味じゃないわよ。
Around the time when the sun had completely disappeared and the moon waxed large in the night sky, some distance away I'd found something that looked like the school. This would have to do. I stopped the car before the gates and then rummaged in the back seat through the clump of clothing there. If I remembered correctly, there were 2 to 3 towels in this heap. And then, after sifting through a bunch of clothes, I found a hand towel after all. It had the legend Shiraishi Construction written on it. Probably one of those appreciation gifts they give out like candy. Alright, then wait a bit. Taking 2 towels with me, I headed toward the school. I climbed over the closed gates and looked around anxiously for my target. There it is! I'd found a water faucet station, probably for gardening use. I turned the knob and cold water poured out of the faucet, water cold enough to freeze me stiff. I wet the towels and squeezed them out. Sorry for the wait here. I handed over one of those 2 towels to her, and then I took off my sweater and started washing myself. The cold, wet towel felt pretty good against the warm heating of the car. Hey, you go ahead and clean yourself too. It feels nice and cold too.
わかった。
She was a little reluctant at first, but then she slowly started undoing her buttons. The shirt and jeans that were all too big on her. Unlike me, she simply washed herself by retracting her hands into the shirt. What is it?
いないでよ。
Oh, sorry. That's right. She murmured with the wet towel in her hand, her clothes half on, half off. It was the first time I'd seen her look like that. A little annoyed, a little embarrassed. Inside the car, our backs turned to each other. Hey, feels pretty good, eh? Inside the car, shrouded in the dark of night, drying myself off reflected in the glass of the windows, which also reflected her back toward me, drying herself off just as I was. She'd taken off her shirt just as I had. I didn't mean to look, but I could see big scars on her chest. Probably post-surgical. Didn't know what for, but they were much larger than mine.
ねえあなた、
Huh? What is it?
そんなに珍しい。
Her back turned to me, speaking to me, reflected in the window. January 25th, 2005. The silver cope in motion underneath the cloudy skies. Driving around without a destination as per usual, it was already 3 days later, and nothing had really changed in that time. Along the way we'd found a free public open air bath, and since it seemed devoid of people, we were able to take a bath after all. Other than that, we were out of money, and we were running out of gas again. Are you getting tired?
別に
We exchanged these words while eating convenience store-bought rice balls. They might have been tastier than anything up at 7F, but they were becoming pretty boring by now. But we didn't have enough money to have anything but this kind of meal.
音がうるさい
Huh? What is it all of a sudden?
車の音前より大きくなってる
Oh, yeah, fair enough. This was probably because I cracked the muffler when I was escaping from the Panchico parlor. I hadn't really noticed it, but sure enough the car was sounding louder. Not a real impediment to driving, but the bigger problem was the gas. I'd already been driving for 5 minutes since the meter had bottomed out empty, and only had 900 yen left. Unlike last time, this was obviously not enough. And if the car stopped due to lack of gas, we'd be able to do nothing anymore. Having decided, I looked for a gas station, and one that was self-service. Oh no, girl! Having found one, I stopped the car next to the nearest pump. I'm going to get some gas.
そう
But don't get out of the car. No answer, but she probably knew what I meant by that. I opened the gap to the gas tank and snaked in a gas hose. Only one other car in the station and a little building with an attendant within. Probably there to get payment and give back a change. According to the notice on the wall, you were supposed to take the receipt to him when done. We could probably make out our getaway right now if we wanted. Is what I felt as I looked around the quiet gas station. 23, 24, 25, 26. The numbers went on the meter too slowly. It seemed unlike at last time. I kept wondering uneasily if it wouldn't fill up a little bit faster. And then after the meter hit 40, right before the tank was full. Welcome! For some reason, the attendant who had been in the building up until now came rushing towards us. Sir, oh my god, I'm a guy! Sir, are your tire pressure and ashtrays okay? Yes they are. I see, well it's cold out, so please be careful. He even started cleaning the windows as he's trying to take good care of us. While he did so, the pump detected that the tank was full and with business-like sound spit out a receipt. Oh, please go over there to pay. He stopped wiping the windows for a second and pointed at the building. I held the receipt in my hand in silence and stood completely still, wondering what should I do. Is something the matter, sir? Oh, no, it's nothing. For now, I got back into the car, and then I just turned the engine into ignition. What should I do now? The attendant was washing the rear window by now. So if I floored the accelerator now, then he'd be able to read the license plate number right away, and we'd get arrested just like that. But we had to escape now. Having decided, I floored the clutch, and then, just as I was about to shift from neutral to into first gear...
はい
Huh? Go ahead and use it. She abruptly produced an envelope, and then took a 10,000 yen note out and gave it to me. You have money on you. I never had thought that she had any. And because of that, We'd had so many hardships up until now. Why didn't you tell me?
あなた聞いた？
Huh? No. Well...
聞かれなかったからよ。
And with that, she turned back in silence to the window. The silver cope in motion once more. The tank was full again, and we had 5,000 yen notes as change. But what had just happened as weighing heavily on my mind. Hey, you know? Here. This is all of it. Huh? Before I could get any further, she presented the envelope to me. Can I use this?
別にいいわよ。
I looked into the envelope and there was 10,000 notes inside. This would be enough. But now there was something entirely different on my mind. Why did she have this much money on her? The couple thousand yen I'd brought with me were just whatever I'd had on the hand at the time. But in her case, it was that she'd prepared this all in advance. You know, you said you didn't want to die on 7F, right?
家だって嫌よ。
Yeah, same here. Then where exactly did you want to go? Didn't you prepare this money just for that purpose? And then I remembered what she'd told me earlier, that she was going to go somewhere where she is still good. And she asked me, do you want to stop me or come with me? So in truth, is there somewhere you want to go?
別に
That's not much of an answer.
どこもないわよ。
That was all she murmured, desolately, sadly. If that was the case, had she been preparing for a trip all by herself without having a destination in mind this entire time? It did make me wonder who would do such a lonely thing. But as I gazed at her lonely-looking profile, I found my answer. She would.
じゃああなたはどうなのよ。
Me? Not really,
真似しないでよ。
I'm not imitating you. He kept driving along without a destination. One had escaped from 7F without a second thought. The other had made futile preparations without a destination. But right now, anywhere is fine with me. But I want to go somewhere. At least for me, I wanted a path to follow. I was fine with anything, as long as it was a path. Hey, how about that Awaji island you were talking about? We can get there with the money we have. Really, anywhere would have been fine, as long as it wasn't 7F or home. As long as we could go, we could get there. But we couldn't just wander around aimlessly. I wanted to head toward a destination, no matter what that destination was. What about you? Want to go try going there?
別に
With that, she turned back to the window in her usual silent fashion. Those same eyes, the same as ever, looking somewhere into the distance. Just what could she be looking at? Just what was she hoping for when she came with me? Oh! Wow! That was really short! That was chapter 4. It was amazingly short. But now if I start the chapter 5, it may be 30 minutes and then this episode would be like 40 minutes. God damn it. I think I'll have to stop the episode in here. Yeah, I think so. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of the love and support, and I am glad she had money on her, but the fact she didn't tell us about it was kinda nasty. The fact that you didn't ask me, it was no excuse. he had an amazingly hard time trying to figure out how to get money and worrying about it, so I think she should have told about the money earlier. But I'm glad they're fine now. Yeah. I hope you guys are enjoying this, whoever are watching. And yeah, nothing else. Bye bye. Swoosh.